Hey there, this is Gary McCormick with Affordable Craftsman out of Atlanta, Georgia, Northwest Atlanta. And I'm making this quick content. It will be up on our various websites or YouTube channels and social media. My wife Renee, the infamous super agent, a realtor extraordinaire, has requested this video like many of my videos that I've done for y'all. She helped me for 30 years to leave as a VP of a bank and start to flip houses. In the late 90s, we flipped houses, which led to doing many remodels for people in the same neighborhoods. We would have a flip house in Inman Park, Virginia Highlands, Morningside, Buckhead, Midtown. And typically we would spend 50 or 100 grand on the remodel, make 50 grand, maybe 70 or 80. But that process would take 2 or 3 months, sometimes 5 or 6 even, depending how involved. We had some that were as high as $200,000 of work that took a year. And during that time, everyone in the neighborhood would come find us. We were there working, the doors were unlocked. They saw our yard sign. Of course, we got yard signs because I have an international business degree and we're real business people, so it wasn't like we were hiding out. We had permits pulled. We were doing everything legally, insured. Architects, realtors, other builders, they would come in, look around, the neighbors. And if things were dangerous, if there was an area where the floor was missing and things, we would put up caution tape and block off areas and things. You have to do that, unfortunately, but we did. But people were always in tremendous shock that the places we worked were organized, materials stacked, floor swept. Could you eat off the floor? I don't know, but it was pretty swept. Architects come in, they're used to these contractors and builders. Places look like crap. It's a goat mess. Crap everywhere. You know, a bunch of foreign subs. Of course, I got all kinds of foreign subs. It's like the UN, Romania, Brazil, every Latino country, all over Europe. Stucco guys from Europe are fantastic. Guys here in America. I mean, I got great people all over the world they come from. But some of those crews that come from all over the world, some of them, they poop in buckets in the house, pee places. It's just icky boo-boo. So you have to have the right crews. And but it really blows up. It blew our business up back in the mid-90s because everything we touched turned to more work. That's the dream, right? Well, a big part of this, I guess we've done about 1,000 houses over the last 30 years. Not all of them in our name or in LLCs that we own. You know, many were in our name. We've been investors. But many for other investors and for other real estate agents that we worked for, and many of them for homeowners that were selling, meaning we would do 30 grand worth of work to their house in Roswell, and then the agent would sell it for 60 to 90 grand more. So this is what really sets us apart, okay? At Affordable Craftsman, my wife Renee, the realtor, super agent we call her. This is what sets us apart. Is that, you know, agents go in houses every day, just like my wife, other realtors. You know, you could be a realtor for 20 years and go in and out of houses every day. Look at thousands of houses. Looking at thousands of houses and looking at what kind of selections were done, that is not the same as actively flipping the house. And here's where the rubber meets the road. When you flip a house, what you and most people will not know, what new investors don't know, and it absolutely destroys them in the first few flips, is that you are going to have to spend the bulk of your money. Let's say you spend 50 grand. You'll be spending 30 or 35 grand of that 50 grand on things that you don't want to. On things that you, honestly, 90% of you out there wouldn't even know that you need it. So, for example, changing out the hinges that are rusted in the house. That's not a very big ticket item, but if you don't do that, you're going to have problems selling. Changing the doorknobs if they're all rusted and don't work. Adjusting the doors. Making sure all the exterior doors and windows are sealed properly, that they don't leak air. Making sure that the HVAC system is serviced. Making sure that the electrical panel is serviced. Making sure that all the plumbing stuff is serviced. Making sure the roof doesn't leak. Fixing any roof leaks or plumbing leaks. We generally don't repaint whole houses. That's just not a thing that we typically have done. But we do paint fronts of houses, and we paint sides of houses, and we touch up heavily. We color match all the paint, and we do repaint entire walls if they're really bad, like if the headboard's been rubbing. We try not to refinish hardwood floors completely. A lot of times you can just refinish the hallway or where it's worn real bad. And these are all tricks, because what you're trying to do is to not spend 50 grand on all this stuff. I mean, it's going to make it look better, and it's going to help sell it. And you have to do it. Because if you don't do these mechanical things especially, then what's going to happen is you're going to spend your 50 grand. And then the buyers are going to show up, and they're going to get home inspections. And they're going to come out and say you have to replace the whole HVAC unit. And replacing the whole HVAC unit, let's say that my HVAC guy is 6 or 8 grand to replace it. The HVAC guy for the real estate agent for the buyer, they're going to be 10 or 20. That's how the game's played. They're going to bid 10 or 20 because they're going to want to get paid more. They don't have a guy like me because they're not a builder. They don't have a guy like me that's worked for me for 20 years. So my 6 and 8 grand is going to be killer. But the thing is, when I service that HVAC, I'm not replacing it. I'm going to bring it up to code and do everything maybe for $1,000. So do I want to spend the $1,000 up front and service it? Do I want to spend $1,000 up front to tighten down the electrical panel, to make sure the labels are all right, to make sure the breakers are all working, to replace any receptacles that aren't working? Do I want to spend $1,000 making sure the toilet hardware is good and nothing is leaking? Or, if I don't, then the home inspector is going to come in and find it, and then they're going to bring in a master plumber, master electrician, master HVAC, and they're going to give an enormous, puffed up, full retail bid. And that plumbing, electrical, and HVAC alone could be 10, 20, 30, 40 grand. Now, that buyer wants the house right. They want to move into a house with HVAC that works. They want a pooper that works. They want electrical that's not going to burn the house down, right? So all the agent, the inspector, all these contractors, they're trying to facilitate the buyer of your house to get something safe and to code, and they're going to overbid it so they can beat you down, so they can beat your price down, so they can take advantage, and then they're going to get overpaid and take the money to the bank. And it's going to be your fault. Do you hear me? Whether you're a new investor or a seasoned investor, it's going to be your fault because you spent a bunch of that 50 grand putting in new flooring, painting the whole place, getting some new kitchen countertops, getting some high-end appliance, but you needed to have spent 20 or 30 or 40 grand getting the place all up to A snuff, making it rock and roll. Because on the front end, you don't need a master electrician to get that panel right as rain. You can bring a journeyman electrician with a lot of experience, and that's $1,000 or a $2,000 item. But if they come in and say you need a whole new panel, they're going to want 5 or 10 grand. Now my guy do a whole new panel for 2 or 3 grand, maybe 4. But if I just tighten and fix everything and make sure the breakers are right, it won't come to that. But if you don't fix your property, if you don't get a home inspection done, if you don't prepare it for sale, you're going to let the buyer and the buyer's real estate agent and all these different construction people come in and turn it into a circus and strip you of your profit. And it'll be your fault. This is what these people have done for 100 years. You have to go in and fix this stuff and take responsibility. But Gary, I don't want to spend 30 grand, because the truth is, you might have to spend 30 grand to sell the house for 400 grand. But if you don't spend the 30 grand to sell it for 400 grand, they're going to come at you with a bill for 60 grand to make it safe, to make it livable. And you're just not going to get the 400 grand. They're going to beat you down. They're going to negotiate with you. And then once you have all those reports from them, you or your selling agent, you can no longer act like you don't know. You can't pretend you didn't know about the meter or the panel. Now that they have reports, you have to disclose this to every buyer. You have to add this to your property disclosure sheet. You can't hide it. You can't hide the radon. You can't hide the lead. Had you dealt with it up front, or had you figured out a way to avoid dealing with it, then you would be buffered, you would be protected. But ignorance is not bliss if you're an investor. You're going to own this boo-boo mess. And yeah, fixing the front door and the garage doors and landscape in the front yard and taking the wall out between the kitchen and the dining room and putting in a big island, that 10 or 15 or 20 grand is going to get you a lot bigger return. If you spend that 20 grand, you'll get 20 grand more for the house. You'll actually profit. But if you do that and you don't fix the other basic things, the safety things, the mechanical things, and you just act like, oh, I'm just an investor, I'm not a home inspector, I'm not an engineer. No. No one's doing you a favor. Your agent, your investor agent, your selling agent, they need to get a home inspection done before it goes on the market. And if there are problems with utilities, if there are problems with the mechanicals, if there are problems with stuff that just looks old and nasty and beat up, that's going to hurt you. And that's what we do exceptionally here. That's what we've done 1,000 times. We're not just an agent that went in and said, oh, I like that subway tile. I mean, subway tile is crap. There's so much nicer tile for the same price as subway tile that will get you more money when you sell. But homeowners want to put in subway tile. It's freaking horrible. They got no business. We won't work for an investor or homeowner to flip houses or to make money unless they release us to make all the selections. What tile? What color paint? What flooring? What appliances? We make all those decisions. Why? Because we've done that 1,000 times in 30 years. And every day, every week, we have to deal with investors that thought they knew what they were doing. And they misinvested. They didn't use the 30, 50, 60 grand where it should have went. They misspent it. Oh, their hands are clean. They didn't know better. My investor's not an HVAC guy. He's not an electrician. But my wife Renee and I and the rest of our company, we know better. We know that the house needs to be inspected. We know that all that stuff needs to be fixed and made right, or you're going to have a problem selling. And on paper, hey Gary, on paper, I'm going to make 50 grand. But then when you go to sell it, you're going to have to spend 30 grand to sell it. You're going to make 20 grand. You're not going to be happy. In most cases, you're going to be a dick. You're going to be a dick to my wife, who's your realtor. And you're going to be a dick to me while we fix it all. And you're going to be a dick to the buyers. And you're probably going to be a dick to everybody else in your family that wishes that you had just paid somebody else or hired somebody and got good, honest professional advice instead of being a cheap dick. That's what they're going to think about you. And if you're some foreign person that's visiting our country that's going to be some big shot investor, the first house you buy, you're going to go in and you're going to change the flooring and you're going to paint it and you're going to get appliances and you're going to get cabinets. And after you spend that 30 or 50 grand, you're going to realize when it comes time to sell it that there was a bunch of other stuff that needed done. Ugly stuff, mechanical stuff, stuff that the home inspector would have caught for $200 or $300, stuff that I would have caught as the contractor. And it's going to surprise you and your agent, and you're going to spend 20 or 30 grand to get the house up to snuff so that you can sell the booger. And instead of making 50 or 60, you're going to make 10 or 20 grand and you're going to be pissed. And you're going to be a dick. And it's going to be your fault. So I'm making this video for everyone that might want to even think about working with me. That might want to think about hiring Renee or I to bulletproof their house and help them sell it for more. Because we will come in and tell you, if you spend this much money, this is how much more you'll get. You can spend 20, you can spend 40, you can spend 60, but depending how much you spend, this is what needs to be fixed and why. And this is not something that you learn even in a year. This is not something that you learn doing one house or 3 houses. We've done this for 30 years and we've done over 1,000 houses. And again, your real estate agent, hey, cool, they've been doing it for 20 years too, and they've been in 1,000 houses. Cool, they've seen a lot of subway tile. They've seen a lot of paint colors. They know what they like, they know what looks good and what sells. But do they know the costs of that? Are they going to make the list of every little thing you should or shouldn't do? I would be very surprised if any agent in Atlanta could get you 50, 60, 70% where I will get you after 30 years and 1,000 houses. Because I'm a GC and a builder and a contractor, and my wife is a realtor, and we've done this 1,000 times. We didn't do it for fun. We did it for profit. Whether it was our profit or an LLC's profit or the profit of our investor that hired us. We did it for profit. It's like selling art. You can go make a bunch of art, but can you sell it for a profit? Right? Any dingleberry can do art. You can paint football helmets. You can splatter paint on mattresses. You can get old chairs and put paint on them. You can refinish furniture. But it's profitable art. So you can go renovate a house. You can go flip a house. But are you going to flip it and make 10 grand or 40 grand or 70 grand? And what if you think you can flip it for 30 grand invested and you're going to make money on it, and I tell you no, you're going to have to invest 50 grand. You can make the profit you want, but you're going to have to add more value. You're not going to be able to sell it for that much more if you put 30 grand in or 10 grand in. You need to put 50 grand in or 70 grand in. Now listen, there are times that we have customers that they've taken great care of their house. They're very meticulous, and their houses are dated. They're not completely redone, but they're very well taken care of, and we fixed them up for $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 and got them sold. But they were not updated. To update them would have been 30, 40 grand, and they would have made maybe 50 or 60 more. But they looked at us and said, I don't want to spend 40 grand to make 20 more. I'll just spend the 10 grand and get out. So there are options, right? I'm not saying there are not options. There's like low, medium, high. But each of those price points, you have to get certain things done. You have to get certain things done to just fluff the house and sell it. You have to get certain things done to do medium work and sell it. And you have to do certain things and get them done to sell it at a premium. And you need to know what needs done at those price points. And you also need to know what has to be done to sell it, period. Meaning plumbing, electrical, and HVAC, roof, gutters. Those all need to be good no matter what. And not knowing the truth, not spending the money on a home inspector, not having a contractor give you honest advice, it will only hurt you. I promise. You will almost never get blessed for ignorance. You will get blessed for finding the truth. So, this is my warning to you. I give it with love. I don't mean to be mean. I am being a little funny. Because saying dick is funny, or jerk. It's funny. Just being silly. Keeping it light. But don't make the mistakes. Don't have to learn a $10, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 lesson. Don't do that to yourself. How much is a phone call? The number is at the end of this video, the email. You can click a button above or below. Go through our YouTube channel. Go in the description under the video in the YouTube channel. Go to any of our websites that are listed here. We are very easy to get hold of. To call, to text, to email. Get hold of us. Spend 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 50 minutes. Because people that make phone calls to us save 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 grand. Right? We're very good at construction and real estate. We've done it for 30 years. And we've done everything you can just about imagine in it. And we've done it well. And we don't have to do it turnkey. And we don't have to charge you full price. A lot of times people just need coaching. A lot of times they just need a consulting call. A lot of times they just need to send me stuff. Or my wife Renee, super agent, my realtor, they need her to look at something for you. And sometimes we do it for free. If we do charge, it won't be much. Or it'll be a fee or a commission based on how much work we do. Or, if you want to develop some land in your backyard, we'll partner and make that happen for you. You're not going to be able to do it without us. Get real. Come into reality. But if we can turn your $1 million into $2 million or $5 million, why would you not split the difference? Why would you not partner with us? Well, you don't like money? So whether you save money or make more money, same difference. The goal is to get you retired one day. Same as for Renee and I. Let's get retired one day. We'll help you get retired. We'll help protect your interests. We're not lawyers. We're not accountants. I'm a licensed builder and a GC. My wife is a realtor. But we have 30 years and 1,000 house flips and 6,000 or 7,000 jobs and many new homes, many lot developments, land developments that we can bring to bear. And it's not easy to find people like us that are free or affordable and that are accessible. So if you want to protect your interests, make some time for a phone call, send an email, do something. But it won't be because you weren't warned. This is what kills investors. They think they're going to flip a house and they don't make any money. And it's over this, sometimes it's because they just bought too high. There are a lot of years that you really shouldn't flip a house. And there are a lot of years that you should flip as many as you can. So there are big market factors in flipping. But this specific issue of taking out walls and adding front doors and landscaping the hell out of something and painting it, putting lipstick on the pig, making it look, spending 30 or 50 grand on it. And then you find out that there was 5 or 10 or 20 grand of stuff that you should have done that you didn't. But because it wasn't done up front, the buyer's agent and the buyer, they're going to get big bids. And bids that would have been 10 or 20 grand total are going to be 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 total. And you're going to have to fight with them over that money. And you're either going to have to reduce your price or get the stuff fixed. And now, if you get the stuff fixed, you're going to have to use a master plumber, master electrician, master HVAC. And you're going to have to document it all or use a licensed contractor. Had you done this work as part of your house flip, you could have done it much more affordably. It's a difference of $1 versus $2 or $3 versus $5 or $6. So 10 grand becomes 20 or 30 grand. That could be 50 or 60 grand. There's big benefit to you getting in with your eyes wide open. Spend some money and some time up front and double check what you're getting into and make sure you have enough money and you have the right list of things to be done. Because my wife and I, we see this on the back end every week. Investors that had no business flipping a house, had no backup, no coaching, no training, no one to just double look at everything and caution them. And that 10 grand turns into 50 grand, and then it turns back down into 20 or 30 grand, and they just flip the house for free. Don't let that be you. And we don't want to list it for you because it's a pain, because you're going to be a dick to everybody if you're in this situation. So listen to me, take our advice, it's heartfelt. Avoid being in this situation, avoid losing money, maximize your profit. Be smart up front so you don't have to act like and feel like a dick later. Believe me, we don't want to deal with you later. It sucks. But we will if we have to, and we'll be nice about it. But it's better to just be smart. Don't be a dick. Measure twice, cut once. That's what we say in the instruction. Measure twice, cut once. Maybe measure 3 times. Just saying. All right. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you're entertained. And I hope you didn't take offense. That was a little prickly, a little silly. But, you're a big boy or girl or you wouldn't be here, right? So let me know how we can help. Again, we're easy to find, easy to reach out. I look forward to talking to you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoy other content. Meet you in person soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.